Punishment for making mistakes is commonly understood, but if it becomes too strict, it leads to the deprivation of basic human rights. Do you think it is reasonable? For example, Singapore has a strict legal system. Today, I will share information about 5 countries that can be described as having strict law enforcement or even authoritarian governance. In other words, they may be the least free countries. If you enjoy hearing interesting facts from me, welcome to subscribe to our channel. Take action now. A country located in Northeast Africa, where every Eritrean is required to undergo mandatory conscription after turning 18, with no determined end date for their service. While the official announcement in Eritrea sets the conscription period at 18 months, in reality, many individuals end up serving in the military for over a decade. In numerous private and public projects, new conscripts subjected to forced labor work up to 72 hours per week. Due to prolonged oppression and indefinite national service, approximately 12% of Eritrea's population chooses to flee the country, according to the latest report from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR. The country essentially lacks a legislative body, independent civil society organizations, or media outlets. In September 2001, the government shut down all independent newspapers and arrested their editors and prominent journalists, while there is no independent judiciary. The imprisonment Eritreans face, including torture, is at the whims of commanding officers in security forces. Therefore, trials and appeals are a distant hope for local residents. The government also restricts religious freedom, prohibiting the establishment of religious groups other than Sunni Islam, the Eritrean Orthodox Church, the Roman Catholic Church, and evangelical Lutheran denominations, and tightly controls existing religious organizations. Due to these reasons and more, the country is often referred to as the North Korea of Africa. Our friends who follow our channel surely know that today's topic cannot exclude North Korea. Today, North Korea is a socialist country. In North Korea, the money earned through work is not called a salary but referred to as a living allowance. The amount of monthly living allowance varies depending on the position. People in higher positions can receive more, allowing them to purchase more clothing and enjoy more entertainment activities. For example, being a soldier or an airline crew member is considered a coveted job for the people of this country. After all, there is only one airline in North Korea, Air Koryo. It is said that flight attendants receive a living allowance of around $100 to $200, which is considered high income. Civil servants generally receive a living allowance below $100, while ordinary citizens receive even less. However, it is said that education, healthcare, and housing are free. But the rulers of North Korea control all broadcasting, printed materials, and television content. Only the upper echelons have access to the internet. Of course, their online activities are strictly monitored. Since January 7, 2013, foreigners have been allowed to bring mobile phones into North Korea. However, in some areas, using mobile phones to take pictures is still prohibited. If you violate this regulation, your phone may be confiscated, and in severe cases, you may be treated as a spy and sentenced to lifelong imprisonment. If such strict measures are imposed on tourists, imagine what the consequences might be for the people if they commit a crime. Forced labor and public executions are considered normal punishments. However, the aforementioned information is based on the accounts of defectors who have escaped from North Korea. As for the true lives of the North Korean people, it remains largely unknown. Iran is one of the major economies in the Middle East, with its oil and gas industries serving as the backbone of the country. Before being subjected to sanctions as a major oil-producing nation, Iran was considered economically strong in the Middle East. However, our inherent perception of Iran is often influenced by external media, portraying it as a Muslim country with anti-Western culture, where women commonly wear black robes, and so on. In reality, even men's hairstyles are strictly regulated according to Islamic teachings, and things like tattoos, ponytails, and groomed eyebrows are not allowed. Women are required to adhere to specific dress codes, such as wearing headscarves, and even men typically only wear long pants, not shorts. While the government is against Western influence and bans all Western music, private citizens still listen to popular American songs in private. The government does not allow Western fast food chains to enter Iran, but there are many knockoff versions of Western fast food restaurants on the streets, imitating the likes of KFC. Reports indicate that Iran suppresses freedom of speech, and several Iranian athletes who successfully escaped overseas have had the opportunity to speak out about discrimination and political interference they faced in their home country. One example is Sadegh Goudarzi, a former Iranian wrestling champion and national team member, who managed to escape to the United States in 2009. In fact, even mild public criticisms against the Iranian government can lead to repercussions. Saudi Arabia is deeply influenced by traditional and religious-related laws. The country has extremely strict social laws regarding women, who are prohibited from being in the company of unrelated men. When going out, they must adhere to a strict dress code, and failure to wear loose-fitting, ankle-length abayas may result in punishment from the religious police. In recent years, Saudi Arabia has gained attention for granting women some new rights. For example, Saudi women have finally been allowed to enter football stadiums to watch matches. They can also join the military and intelligence agencies. In 2018, the country even hosted its first women's cycling race, and women are now allowed to obtain driving licenses. Before this change, women could actually be arrested for driving in public areas. In Saudi Arabian restaurants, separate seating areas must be designated, with women sitting in the family section with their male relatives or colleagues, while the bachelor section is exclusively for men. The country has many restrictions on women, such as opening bank accounts, obtaining passports, undergoing certain medical procedures, and getting married or divorced, all of which require the permission of a male guardian. If a woman is widowed, her son can also become her male guardian. It's just unfortunate for women born in Saudi Arabia. The Republic of Equatorial Guinea is located in central Western Africa. Although its name includes equatorial, its land territory is not actually on the equator. Since the discovery of significant oil reserves in its territorial waters in 1996, the country has experienced rapid economic growth and has become one of the leading developing nations. However, most of the oil revenue is controlled by government officials and the ruling elite. While Equatorial Guinea has the highest per capita GDP in Africa, it only benefits a small portion of the population. The majority of the population remains in poverty, lacking even access to safe drinking water. 28% of children do not live past the age of 5. Since gaining independence in 1968, Equatorial Guinea has been under the dictatorial rule of the Nguema family. In 1972, President Francisco Nguema declared himself the president for life. The government discourages education and even prohibits the use of the word knowledge. Infrastructure such as power plants, libraries, and educational institutions is virtually non-existent, and the government controls media outlets including radio and television. Foreign media attempting to enter and document the dire conditions faced by the people are mostly prohibited. Even if successful, they are subject to strict surveillance. It was not until August 1979 that Francisco Nguema was finally overthrown in a military coup led by his nephew, Teodoro Obiang, who established his own dictatorship and assumed the presidency. After watching this, do you feel grateful and cherish the freedom you currently have? Or do you have a different interpretation of what true freedom means? You are welcome to leave your thoughts in the comments section. Alright, that's all for this episode's content. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. And of course, follow us for more interesting trivia. Alright, world records, see you next week. Goodbye!